Today we're going to be making and talking on one of the most sustainably sourced leather boots that we can make and comparing it to the vegan leather trend that is going on around us. And please guys, can you let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on what we're about to discuss on. This isn't just for the algorithm, it is genuinely we want to hear your feedback, as this is quite a big project and something that over the next couple of years we can potentially work on and grow into a really awesome project. Before we carry on with this video, something I'm super excited about is this piece of veg tan leather, which we sourced from the Habu Village in Botswana. But before we chat more on this, there's a whole bunch more to the story that we need to explain to you, and we'll catch up on this piece of leather later on, and we are going to incorporate it into a pair of boots. Of recent, leather is being compared to so-called sustainable alternatives, which in various situations we find to be misleading. As the question is, are they really environmentally friendly? And are these alternative materials always more sustainable than leather? And our answer is no, as most of these materials consist of a large part of synthetic, man-made fibers based on fossil fuels. Now I'm sure with the advancement of technology, these things may catch up and it may become a viable option, but right now we want to be focusing on making wildlife-friendly leather products. The lifespan of lots of alternatives to real leather is much shorter, and they don't have the same look and feel. It is also good to keep in mind that there are only milk and meat cows. There are no cows that are being bred for leather. So if we do not use the hides, they'll be thrown away. As long as people eat meat, leather will always be available. So what is our answer to making leather and beef more sustainable here in Southern Africa? And that is to develop a wildlife-friendly beef and leather market. For those that are familiar with Jim Green and our brand, you'll be aware of our buffalo skin boots that we made in the past. We also done 1 or 2 videos around this, which is a little bit of a taste on making wildlife friendly boots. Now African buffalo skin isn't readily available, which is why now we want to start looking into working wildlife friendly cattle. So to look into this matter further, we had to take a trip up to the western side of the Okavango Delta in Botswana. And here we're warmly welcomed by the people of the Habu Village and the ENTRUST. Now the ENTRUST are doing a really great job out there, where they run a predator research program, education program, and a coexist program. For us, we're going to be hoping to get involved more in the coexist program and the predator research. We'll put some links below to the ENTRUST website, so for those of you more interested in the work they're doing, you can head on over there. So to get a better understanding of the area that we're working in, we're going to put a map up here for you. So as you can see, on the western side where the Okavango Delta ends, there's a little strip of a number of villages that runs from north to south. Then further west of this, there's further wildlife areas that go on into Namibia. Now these are areas of migration for various animals, and with herbivores comes lots of predators. Now what's happening in these areas is that these villages are grazing their cattle among the wildlife. And while the cattle are grazing among the wildlife, so are the predators hunting. And what is happening is that these villages are losing a number of their cattle to predation. So as for the cattle in these areas, market access is one of the biggest constraints to farmers, as living close to wildlife comes with trade restrictions due to the prevalence of disease. So they are restricted to selling only in Botswana's red zones, which are the diseased areas. Through ENTRUST Herding for Health, which is a herding and kraling program, and mobile quarantine initiative, they are able to provide disease-free beef and reach markets outside of the red zones. Additionally, as we are working with tourism enterprises in the Delta, we are trying to reach other markets through wildlife-friendly beef branding, as farmers in the program use non-lethal programs, herding and kraling, for predator control measures, and this is to move cattle according to the principles of rangeland restoration. Through these efforts, we hope to appeal to the consumer and conscious market. So the beef market is one side, but now where we would come in on the leather side is a whole new story. And as we learned from trying to source the African buffalo skin, number one, it isn't easy, and number two, it isn't cheap. And at the same time, given the conditions that these animals are living in, the quality of the leather isn't as good as leather you're going to get from a feedlot or from a green pasture. These animals are running in the wild of southern Africa. There's acacia thicket, there's rocks, they're rolling in mud, and the quality of the skin is just never going to be the same as what you can get locally. So that gives us our first hurdle. And one of the reasons the African buffalo leather did so well is that there's a great story behind it. This leather would have been thrown away and gone to waste, but the unfortunate thing with African buffalo skin is that it's not easily and readily available for us. Whereas if we look into the cattle side of things, these cattle are being used all day, every day as a source of meat and milk for the village. So the skins will be readily available. So yes, when the skins get you, they will not be as clean and crisp as what we're used to working with, but the story behind it and the wildlife friendly branding that we're hoping to put onto it, we're hoping is going to be one of a kind. So the issue doesn't stop there with the quality of leather, but now the cost. As these areas are in some of the most remote corners of Africa, the cost to get these skins or salted skins to a tannery is very high. So right now this is purely just an idea, and one of the reasons we're wanting to hear your comments below. Would you pay quite a bit more for a pair of boots given the story behind it, or would you be happy with the stock standard options that we offer? And we're very interested to hear your feedback. So now onto the boots that we are going to be making. So we are going to be making 4 pairs of wildlife friendly boots using the veg tan leather that was kindly given to us by the Habu Village and our African buffalo upper. Now we're hoping to get some salted skins from Habu Village and convert it into leather, but unfortunately we haven't been able to get around that due to some logistical issues. So today we're going to be doing a combination of African buffalo leather upper and a wildlife friendly veg tan midsole. So by pairing these two components together, it becomes the ultimate wildlife friendly boot. Both of these pieces of leather or skins would have been disposed of, but now we have managed to turn them into something not only usable, but something that's going to last a good number of years if cared for correctly. We're going to be able to make 4 pairs of boots out of this veg tan, which we'll be donating to the Habu Village as a thank you for giving us this skin. So now onto the interesting part, and that is how did they tan this leather? And it was done the traditional way. Now, when we were in the village, we did bump into the leather makers, and this is what got my mind going and said, you know what, we could use this as a midsole. Normally they would use this for saddles that they use obviously for the horses in the area, but I said to them, let's incorporate it into a pair of boots and see how it goes. So I've got the process that these guys follow to make this leather, and this is how it goes, and it is something really interesting. Keep in mind, these guys are living on the outskirts of the Okavango Delta. They don't have access to electricity, water, and all they have is what nature can provide them with. So this skin is salted and left to dry. It is then left for 2 days in a solution of leadwood ash and water. Now leadwood is a hardwood tree that is found here in southern Africa, and this tree lives for hundreds if not thousands of years. Now what this solution does is that it actually pulls the hairs out of the leather. Once the hairs are removed, the skin is then left for 2 days in a dry sorghum, and this apparently thickens the skin. A solution is then made from the lakuti tree roots, and the skin is left in this solution for 1 to 2 months to tan. And once it comes out, it pretty much looks like what we have in front of us here. One thing to note, as the skin was tanned traditionally, is that there is a bit of a smell that does come off of it. So when we do make these boots, we may put one of our own layers of a veg tan leather on top of it, just so that when the guys are wearing it, it doesn't have as much of a stench to it. Now I haven't gone into too much depth around the leather making process, and I probably haven't done it that much justice, but if this program or something were to come of this, We would love to go out there and spend a good couple of days with these leather makers and see how they do this the traditional way. I find it extremely interesting and really hope that these boots come together nicely and the guys enjoy wearing them. So all we have done so far with this piece of leather is taken it to the tannery that we work with. We have then thinned it down to the same thickness throughout. As you can see, the lighter areas are where we shaved off, whereas the darker areas were the thickness we were after, if not a little bit thinner, which is another area we'd have to work with these leather makers to make sure that we get a fairly consistent skin throughout. What we're going to do now is get this down into the factory. We're not going to do a full how it's made video, but rather just snippets of the boots going through the factory. If you do want to watch how boots are made, then we do have a playlist which we'll put up here for you, where you can watch how various boots are made and the process that goes through. So once again, thanks very much for watching our channel. Please guys, let us know in the comment section below what you think on this pretty crazy idea. Would you buy these boots, provided they may not be as good a quality as what we would normally make, but do you believe that the story behind it is really one of a kind? So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.